This is a tutorial for V16, add and subtract linear expressions. This is for 8th grade, but for 7th grade, this is going to look like your R14 section. This is also going to feel a lot like the V15 section if you just watched that video. So I'm going to run through these just a little bit faster since you probably just finished your V15 section. So again, we're combining like terms. I told you last time about apples and oranges. So you're going to watch out for when you can combine apples and not to accidentally combine apples and oranges. So number 1, 10v minus 9v. We're just looking at those coefficients since this is a like term. 10 minus 9 is 1, so just v. You could write it like that. Number 2, s plus 6 plus 8s. I can combine the s at the beginning and the 8s at the end, leaving me with 9s plus 6. Number 3, 8j plus 4j minus 9j. These are all like terms, so I'm going to move left to right. 8 plus 4 is 12j, and then I bring down my minus 9j. 12 minus 9 leaves me with 3j. Number 4, 8 plus 5w minus 1 plus w. I can combine the 8 and the negative 1, and then I can combine the 5w plus w. So just as in the last video, I'm going to go step by step, even though you could probably combine some of these steps on your own paper. So 8 minus 1 is 7, then I bring down my 5w plus w, leaving me with 6w plus 7. Number 5, 4 plus 2 plus 8c. So I can combine the 4 plus 2, leaving me with 6, but the 8c, there's nothing else for him to combine with, so he's just by himself in the answer, 8c plus 6. Number 6, this is our first one in this set where we get to use the distributive property. So if you need some help remembering to distribute to both of the terms in the parentheses, I like putting these little arrows. It helps me remember that I have to do it 2 times. So first I'm doing 5 times 2j, which gives me 10j. Then this 5 also gets multiplied by 7. So a common mistake here is to get the 10j part, but then just bring down the plus 7. But remember, these grouping symbols tell us that that 5 gets distributed to both the 2j and the 7, both of those terms in parentheses. So 5 times 7 is 35. So 10j plus 35. Number 7. We have 5h plus 4 plus 4h plus 9. Now here you have 2 sets of parentheses, but they're actually not serving much of a purpose because there's not a distributive property that we need to deal with. So you could rewrite these without the parentheses, or you could erase them, but either way you can combine your 5h with your 4h, giving you 9h. Then you could combine your 4 with your 9, giving you 13. Number 8, negative 9 plus negative 2 plus negative 6 plus 9w. So I can combine my 9 and my 2. They were both negative, so negative 11 minus 6. Again, that plus and negative is the same as subtracting, so minus 6 plus 9w. I check to see if there's anything else I can combine. This negative 11 and the negative 6 I can combine for negative 17. I move my 9w to the front because that would be a more proper way to write that, but it will count it correctly even if you wrote negative 17 plus 9w. All right, let's look at number 9. Negative 6t minus 3t, negative 6t minus 3 plus negative 2t plus 5t. So this, just like I accidentally read it wrong, remember if you're trying to write these out, just like I showed you in the last video with the z, it helps to make your t just a little bit different, so that way you don't get your plus and your t confused, just like I did. So make sure you write that a little bit differently so you don't accidentally combine too many terms. So this negative 6t and then the negative 2t, I can combine those two and get negative 8t. I bring down my minus 3 and plus 5t. Then I see that these two terms are both t raised to the same power, which would be 1 in this case. So I combine those, leaving me with negative 3t minus 3. Number 10, we have another set of 2 parentheses, but we really don't need those grouping symbols in this one. So 3v plus 3v is 6v. 1 plus 5 is 6. Now here these parentheses definitely matter because we have another distributive property. So -3, and I drew my arrows in for you just so you could see those just lightly. So -3 times 5u is -15u. -3 times -8, two negatives make a positive, so plus 24, and then I brought down my plus 10u. So in this new line, I can see that I can combine -15u and positive 10u, leaving me with -5u, and then I just brought down my plus 24. In number 12, 10b plus 5 plus 6b plus 5. And here's one last little trick for you. 6's and b's, depending on your handwriting, can look pretty similar. So I try to make sure that if I'm drawing a b, I make this super straight and make that little line come down extra farther, a little bit extra, to make sure that those b's and those 6's don't get confused. You don't want to read this as a 66 or 2 b's or something different. So 10b plus 5 minus 6b plus 5, I can combine the 10b and the 6b, leaving me with 4b because this was a negative, and then 5 plus 5 is 10. Number 13, 8u plus -u plus 4 plus -3u plus -7. I can combine the 8u minus u, leaving me with 7u. I bring everything else down. Remember this plus and negative, I like to write that as a subtraction problem to clean that up. So 7u plus 4 minus 3u plus 7. I went ahead and combined the 7u minus 3u for 4u plus 4 minus 7. I combine these two like terms. 4u minus 3 is my final answer. Number 14, -5 plus 2x plus -2x plus -5 plus 3. So I combined my -5 with my -5. Now here, be careful because they are pretty far apart in this long expression. So -5 and -5 is a -10. I copied down my plus 2x plus a -2x. So whether you saw it here or down here, I went ahead and copied it down for you, but these terms cancel out because you have a positive 2x and a -2x. And then you just bring down your plus 3. So -10 plus 3 is -7. So this is another example of one that you feel like maybe you did something wrong because you don't have a variable, you don't have a letter, but since these canceled out, you really do only have that number as your answer. Two more. 9s plus 8 minus 4s plus 6. Now don't get this one confused with some of the others that I told you. Like back here at number 7 where there was a plus in the middle, I said these parentheses really aren't serving a purpose. Here, you would think it's the same, but it's actually not because you're subtracting. So just like when we do our distributive property like this, and the 5 got distributed to both of these terms, the same thing is going to happen here with your minus sign. So this minus becomes a negative distributed to both of those terms in that second set of parentheses. So what I like to do, just to make sure that I don't miss anything, is I copy this down without my parentheses. I draw my arrows so I make sure that this is a -4s and this is also a -6. The most common mistake here is that you see that this should be negative, so you copy down your -4s, but then you just bring down that plus 6 and you don't distribute that negative here. So be careful not to make that error. So again, what I like to do is draw my arrows just like I do for that distributive property, so I know I'm distributing that negative to both of those terms. Once I rewrite that, I can combine like terms. 9s minus 4s is 5s, and then 8 minus 6 is 2. Last problem, 8 plus 6 times 5h plus 10. We get to use our distributive property here with this 6 and these two terms. So I bring down my 8, and then 6 times 5h is 30h. 6 times 10 is 60. Now I can combine these two like terms, leaving me with 30h plus 68.